Welcome to Popcorn Chat. I'm Kurt Jarvis. This week, the two movies I will be reviewing for you are Snow White and the Huntsman and Men in Black 3. This episode is brought to you by There's Something About Mary Hair Gel. This is really funny if you've seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, you don't get this joke, and I feel sorry for you. And it's not an urban legend. This stuff does exist because I have 4 of them. And I got them because I'm a movie geek, and I've been a movie geek for a long time. And I went to a premiere that was like 2 days before it opened, and this is what they handed us, and it's really funny. I wish you could read the package, but you can't see it on camera very well. There's something about Mary Hair Gel. It's really funny. Go see this movie. You need to refresh this from time to time. I believe in that. All right, let's get started. Let's start with Men in Black 3, starring Will Smith, Josh Brolin, and Tommy Lee Jones. This is obviously the 3rd installment, hence the 3, of the Men in Black series. And the first Men in Black was, and still is, the best of the 3. It was just hilarious. It was a great idea. There was great timing between Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. There was wonderful dialogue, and that's part of the reason why that movie is so epic. And then the second one came along, and it fell flat. I think it fell flat. It was okay. It was just simply okay. And I was wondering for a long time, I'm like, I wonder if they're ever going to go back and make a 3rd one, only because they needed to get that bad taste of that second one out of their mouth. And Men in Black 3 successfully does that. It's a good movie. It's not as good as the first one, but it's a lot better than the second one. So I think they went back and they said, you know what, if we have to end it with 3, and if we have to end it here, we've ended it much better than we did with the second one. So what makes this movie work is, first of all, Josh Brolin. Okay, Josh Brolin doing a Tommy Lee Jones impersonation of Tommy Lee Jones doing K is really, really funny. Okay, Josh Brolin, who's played George W. Bush in the past and things like that, he's no stranger to doing impersonations. But what he does so well is, the thing he did well in this was he not only got the facial expressions down, he not only got the accent down and, you know, the sort of the voice inflections down, he got the timing down of Tommy Lee Jones. Now, let me explain something to you. Actors work on certain rhythms, okay? They just do certain things that they fall back on, you know, probably back from the early days of training to be an actor. And Tommy Lee Jones's timing has always been different from a lot of other actors. That's just the way he is. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just different, and that's the way he is. Josh Brolin picked up on that, and I find that fascinating. And his timing and his pacing of his timing to playing back on Will Smith is perfect. It's spot on. And it's almost like you can't tell the difference between them two. He looks like a young Tommy Lee Jones and acts like a young Tommy Lee Jones. It was brilliantly done. Very, very brilliant. Will Smith is back. I mean, he was funny again. It was good to see him back again. Now, not every joke that he threw out there was good. Not every dialogue, not every joke they set up was good, and that's kind of why it's just a slightly better, you know, than the second one. But it's still good enough that there was still enough laughs for me that I thought this is what you want to see in a summer action movie. You want to laugh, you want to enjoy it, and you want to sit back and just eat popcorn and be entertained. And it does all those things. The storyline, I think, had a little bit of a problem, but, you know, when you're dealing with kind of science fiction, alien stuff, you can kind of get away with a lot more stuff than you can in real time. So that was good. And Tommy Lee Jones, again, he did a really good job. And I hope this is a good comeback for Will Smith. I really do. He's been gone too long. I used to enjoy it when he would do, like, one year, he would do, like, the big summer action-y movie and entertain us that way, and then the next year go for the Oscars and do something dramatic. I loved it when he was in that pattern because he's such a versatile actor. And here's a little secret, and he'll tell you this too. He's not a natural actor. He's worked at his craft over the years. And people that don't believe me, I sit there and I tell them, go see a movie called 6 Degrees of Separation where he played a gay college student. Everybody's like, he played a gay college? Yes, he did. He was working on his serious roles way back in the day. And then there's another movie he did called Where the Day Takes You where he plays a homeless man in a wheelchair. Go see those 2 movies if you want to see the range that Will Smith has, and if you don't believe me. He was dramatic in both those, and they were really good movies. So I hope Will Smith is back. I really want him to get back in that pattern because I enjoyed it very, very much. And I hope Tommy Lee Jones is going to be coming back and doing regular movies, although I know he's getting old and that kind of affects your scheduling and your roles and everything like that. And Josh Brolin, more power to you, man. You keep impressing me with every role you do, so keep it up. Let's move on to Snow White and the Huntsman. And for a lot of people, we've sat in movie theaters and we've seen the previews and the trailers for this. and it looks remarkable. And I know that this is one of the most anticipated summer blockbuster movies of the year, besides all the superhero ones. Those are just a given. But from a curious standpoint, this is one that a lot of people want to see because it looks so good. Let me save you some time and money and say don't go see it. It's not good. Whoever edited the trailers and the previews should have edited the movie, okay? Because it's not good. I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's got a lot of problems. It has a lot of problems. I went back and I looked up Rupert Sanders, who's the director of this, and this is his first movie, okay? And there's a lot of rookie mistakes in this, and I was sitting there thinking, and I was racking my brain when it said Rupert Sanders was a director, and I was like going, I don't think I know that name. And I was right, I didn't know that name. He made a lot of mistakes. One of the mistakes that he didn't make that I thought was good was his pacing was good. It was a medium-paced film to set up a lot of things, and then when the big epic battles happened, it raised in energy, which is what it's supposed to do, but it never dropped in energy. So I thought, okay, his pacing is fine. His storytelling abilities were terrible. He cannot... This is a story everybody knows, and he's adding some twist to it, and he's not coming across at all. Part of the problem with it is the script. The script, first of all, is terrible. The dialogue is flat. It's fleeting. The story, it just... Instead of living in the scene and in the moment from a script standpoint, all it's trying to do is get to the next scene. And they're not taking their time in between. And when they stop and do that, there are moments in the movie when they stop and do that. They take their time to relish what they're doing, and it becomes good. You're like, okay, now we're on track. And then it falls flat again. And it's not an acting problem. It's not an acting problem at all. It is a problem with the script. And I'll give you an idea what I'm talking about. The Huntsman, if you will, is hired to go find Snow White in the Black Forest. Or the Dark Forest. The Dark... whatever. The point is, he goes and finds her, okay? And they basically get right into the forest, and he spots her right away, and within 2 minutes, he sees her under a tree. He goes over and grabs her. That's the big epic battle between the Huntsman and Snow White. It's in the title, Snow White and the Huntsman. You figured at some point there'd be this nice big battle between the two. They might become friends. They might become... You don't really know. That's it. That was it. It wasn't even a hunt. He should have been called the Gathersman. All he did was gather her from a tree. Like she's a freaking, pear or a banana. I mean, it was like, that's it? And that's it. And then in 2 minutes, she basically says, you should be with me on my side. And he went, I don't really know why I should, but okay. That literally is what he said. I don't know why I should, but okay, I will. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, this is a movie about heart, if you really think about it, because she's trying to get Snow White's heart. It's a movie about heart, and this movie lacked heart. It didn't have any. It's almost like the Evil Queen came out and ripped out the heart of the movie before they even made it. And it just, there was so many times it was dialogue like that. You're like, this is so epically boring. It wasn't interesting at all. And another thing, I talked about this when I did my preview for the Hunger Games. You take a risk when you try to establish a film. When you take over 10 to 15 minutes to set up a premise of a movie, you take a big risk. This took 25 minutes to set up. A story we already know, and to add their caveats to it, it took 25 minutes from beginning to set up to where she's ended up in the forest. So from beginning of the movie until Snow White's in the forest, that took 25 minutes, almost 30 minutes of a movie to set up. That's way too much time. Way too much time. Two other things really bugged me in this film. A, Charlize Theron's performance was completely wasted. She gave everything she had to that role, and she was great, and they gave her nothing in return, okay? Kristen Stewart is not quite ready for a leading role, okay? The big epic scene at the end between her and Charlize Theron just ran circles around her in the acting department. She just did. Kristen Stewart held her own throughout most of the movie, but when it came to, she can't handle Charlize Theron. That was a big mismatch, big miscast, okay? Now, I will say this. The other thing that bugged me was that the dwarfs bothered me. A, they didn't even use dwarfs. They used real human beings' heads on dwarf bodies. I'm not kidding. Bob Hoskins is one of the dwarves. He was the guy that was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Okay, he was the main character in that movie. That guy. You've seen that guy before. They put his head on a dwarf body and called that a dwarf. I was just bothered by that. I was bugged by that throughout the whole movie. And then they started out with 8 dwarves. What do you think is going to happen to the 8th dwarf? They're going to have to get it down to 7. It was so predictable. It was just silly. I didn't like it at all. Now, the one thing I will give it was the very end where Snow White gathers everybody and they go and they storm the castle. From that point on until the epic battle with the Queen, that's a really good movie. That was a good 10 to 15 minutes of good film. I was like, okay. So I think that the director has the chops to do a movie like this. I just think they should have got somebody else to do it. It's almost worth seeing it from the beginning, and then when you see Snow White in the forest, just like get a DVD and click it to the end scene, and you've seen the best parts of the movie. That would be what I would do. I would wait for DVD, and then I would do that, and you'd be like, wow, this was a good movie. And just skip the middle part, because the middle is just ridiculously bad. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I was hoping, because I too was excited. I was like, I want to see something different to do with Snow White. I hope the Snow White fad is over, because it's been done, in my opinion. Out on DVD this week that you need to see is a movie called We Need to Talk About Kevin. It's kind of a long title, but it stars Tilda Swinton and John C. Reilly about a kid that they adopt that has some serious problems. Actually, they didn't adopt him. She had him. And it's really good. It's sort of a psychological thriller. I recommend that one highly. And next week, I'm going to be doing Prometheus. This will give my Ridley Scott friends a chance to probably bash me because I'm not a big Ridley Scott fan, and I critique the hell out of him because he bothers me so much. He has impressed me in the past, so it's likely this could be a good one. But, you know, they should have just called it Aliens prequel. That's just my opinion going into it. But I will do it because I promised you I would. So I will be back next week when doing Prometheus. Until next week, I might see you at the movies.